Good morning. Today I'm going to be covering Spanish asylum and the communication around it. Now we're going to get to the real issue, which is that the Spanish asylum issue is it's grounded in the many communication failures between local governments, like the different regions inside of Spain, like the South, the Canary Islands, and between the EU. Since Spain is part of the Schengen area, they have to deal with the many regulations behind that. Now, I'm going to be looking at this with my own experience, since I went to Spain to study abroad in order to get some experience there, and for about a month, and I've seen the atmosphere in Spain, like how the role immigrants play with the population, and the economics behind it as well, looking at the numbers and seeing exactly how the immigrants have affected Spain. So on the international level, the EU, since the Schengen area is so open to anyone who lives there, you can travel across basically a whole continent without worrying about borders. They have to strictly regulate the immigration process, and in order to do that, they impose like a policy standard across every single nation. And Spain is trying to simultaneously uphold this standard whilst also having an open door policy with immigrants, allowing many in while simultaneously making it they're overloading their system basically, because they're trying to come in whilst having to face so many procedures in order to make sure they're actually verifiable. This is in conjunction with the people coming up from South America, or not South America, Africa, from North Africa, at the border there, and going to the Canary Islands. They're all trying to rush over for asylum, but because of the bureaucracy behind contacting local governments and all the procedures, it all gets stuck in a deadlock, and it causes unrest. Like, many people, with so many foreigners living around you, and they're not even citizens, so they have no right to the state, it's concerning. And you see them all over the place, not in a bad way. It's just when you're living there, you can easily tell that many people aren't natives. So you gotta, if you're comfortable with that, I mean, you're probably a better person for it. But many people are still xenophobic in many parts of the world, especially Europe, with all the cultural tensions that have gone there for the past millennia. And at the national and local level, as seen in this quote, taken from infomigrants.net by one of their news reporters, they said that the regional president of the Canary Islands, Clavajo, he said that he blames the Spanish government, according to Torres, the Spanish Minister for Territorial Aid, and Torres is claiming that it's mainly due to the Popular Party there, which is a Spanish party, obviously, which they run smear campaigns, and they're far right. They're trying to get the immigrants out, which is contrary to what the head party, the minor socialist party, is trying to do in letting immigrants in. So it's very conflicting, and it puts the immigrants in a tough situation. Now, looking at the GDP versus immigration, we can see that the GDP has risen whenever more immigrants have came in, which has been very positive on the economy. The immigrants have been subsidizing many sectors which have needed it, since Spanish has an aging population, which these immigrants have been taking over. Yep. Yeah, they take many less desirable jobs, such as elderly care, hospice, like jobs that you wouldn't really think of when you say, I want a job when I get older. But these are the jobs that many of them taking over, and it's been leading to an economic rise with the fastest growing GDP in all of Europe. Now, in conclusion, we can look at this and see how the immigrants, despite making or causing such social unrest and difficulties behind the between the local governments and the European Union itself, they have given rise to a greater rise in GDP and have a positive effect on the economy. We can see that the communication issues that have been affecting them, like if we can look at these and apply them to our own lives, see how, like in their situation, they probably don't see the issue with rejecting them just because they're foreign, and they just see them as dangerous, just as many of us will probably see U.S. issues as we see it through our own eyes. But if we look at their issues and see it objectively and how it could be resolved, we can look at our own and see that we could probably change for the better if we just fix our communication amongst ourselves. And these are my references. That'll be all.